So hello, everyone. Thank you very much for coming. So our project is a greenwashing risk assessment that we have done in collaboration with a large beauty manufacturer. So in terms of our roadmap, we're going to first dive into our team, the development workflow, as well as our key findings, then go into our risk assessment, and finally do a demonstration of our AI model that we have created. So hi, I'm Victoria.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
I'm Jamaica.
I'm Brandon.
And I'm Sneh.
All right, so consumer brands are facing increasing legal, reputational, as well as financial risk when it comes to greenwashing claims. So our team worked to quantify that risk, and then we built a tool to help brands manage it.
Yeah, so first we wanted to break down how we approach this project step by step. And the first thing we did was dive into research, looking at the US legal landscape. We then created a case database, and we sorted through each case by the legal outcome, the sector, and if there was any monetary value as well. We then developed a risk assessment model. So this was to look at things like how vague a claim is, or assign a reputational risk score to each claim. We then created an AI model, a GPT model, to look at things such as a sustainability claim, and then return a structured risk profile based on US legal norms. And we were constantly refining the model mainly through prompt testing, so looking at things like how consistent and logical it was when you feed in different claim types.
So we compiled a lot of data on this industry, and we looked at over 57 cases using climatecasechart.com and truthandadvertising.org. And we found that a majority of the lawsuits against these consumer brand companies were from unsubstantiated claims. So this means that a company is making an environmental claim, and there's no backing, and their communication about what they're actually doing is not transparent or clear on their website or in their materials. And most importantly is that the number of cases involving greenwashing explicitly in the legal documents is increasing. This clearly shows that this is becoming more of an issue, and that consumers are becoming aware and taking action against companies that they are finding a misalignment with their sustainability goals. Yeah. And this was extremely important for our client because over a quarter of these lawsuits were filed against beauty and cosmetics companies.
All right, so we also took a look at the financial implication of these greenwashing cases. So if you take a look at the screen, all of those numbers there are referring to the estimated legal fees that are associated with these cases. So this is just how much it costs to hire outside counsel to help manage litigation. So overall, we ended up finding that greenwashing lawsuits on average will cost $1.4 million in legal fees. We made a couple of different assumptions to get to this number. We looked at 22 completely resolved cases, and from there we assumed that the cost of outside counsel is about $800 an hour. That would bring us to a monthly legal burn fee of litigation of $75,000, and then we looked at the average case duration. But it was very broad in terms of how much that could cost, anywhere from $150,000 to over $6 million.
Now let's get into our risk assessment model. So we used our own structured database to create multiple iterations of regression models to calculate the probability of facing greenwashing risk. So as you can see here, we also cross-checked our model on seen cases to see how well it performs. Our model has an ROC AUC of 0.87, which basically means that it ranks a risky claim above a safe one 87% of the time. It also had an accuracy of 92% and a precision of 82%. We also analyzed the coefficients of our model to find out what the key risk drivers were, and specific vague and unsubstantiated claims were the most risky claims out there, with a 60% higher chance of facing greenwashing lawsuits. Also, recycling and waste-related claims had a 50% higher chance of facing greenwashing lawsuits. And beauty and cosmetic sectors in particular was the one that stood out with the highest amount of greenwashing lawsuits. On the other hand, specific claims that were certification or seal related had a lower chance of facing greenwashing lawsuit, and also consumer goods that were in non-beauty sector also faced lower greenwashing lawsuits on average. So now I'll pass it to Victoria to talk about our AI model.
So we're going to present a little demonstration of the AI model we've been working on throughout the semester. We will put it on the screen right now, but just to show you a small bit, so these 4 boxes represents the 4 different examples of claims that you can input into the model. You can put any sort of claims, but so that it is easier for the user to use our AI model. Then here you will see the where you put the prompt, and the little plus button adds images if you want to import product images, for example. So if we click on enter our claim, we'll see the first thing that appears is that it's not legal advice because that doesn't replace a lawyer. We then have our claim as well as a risk classification, which in this case is very high. The explanation of the risk with the category being unsubstantiated, which we previously talked about, as well as the sector and the context of the sector, which is important, which means even that influences if it's high or low, as well as the vagueness score. Here, it's really vague because of eco-friendly and sustainably made. And key regulatory insights. We then go into the legal considerations. So that gives us cases that are currently in the process of being in court, such as H&M, as well as Allbird cases, and common issues in those cases. Then we go into the reputational risks. So here is the score of 9 out of 10 of reputational risk, and it explains why that is. And a revised wording, so to show a lower risk for your communication. Of course, this has to be adapted to the company itself. And finally, a litigation context summary. And finally, a disclaimer on the fact that this is not a legal advice, and that is only based on US regulations.
Yeah, so with all of that being said, there are some limitations of the AI model that we wanted to be upfront about. So first, there is no access to internal substantiation, and that just basically means that if a company has internal evidence to support its claim, but that's not publicly disclosed, the model might still mark a claim as high risk. There is also the fact that there is scientific complexity and uncertainty surrounding some topics like carbon capture and biodegradability. And so in that case, the model might struggle to assess it properly. As Victoria mentioned earlier, this model was developed for the US. So when you apply it to other emerging markets or other regions, there might be issues there. There's also a lag in real-time legal updates. So if the FTC just dropped a case, the model might not be able to incorporate it into its assessment immediately. And lastly, there is limited contextual awareness, which just means that the model looks at claims in isolation. It doesn't consider things such as the marketing context or also just any way that the product might be designed or applied. And for all of those reasons, we just wanted to reiterate again that the AI is not a substitute for expert judgment, and it should be used as a supporting tool.
And we created a website for this project, and it's really exciting because you can see all of the different legal research that went into our building of the risk assessment, and you can access the AI model yourself, and this is a tool that any company can use, whether that's a sustainability team or a legal team.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.